So I'm in the Peace Garden, right? And I'm about to enter back into the US. Do you remember when I said...
The Customs and Border Control is literally right down the middle of this, and I was like, holy crap, can I get in without a passport? And you can.
Yeah, that's true. You can. But can you get back out? The border crossing at the International Peace Garden, also known as the Dunseith-Boissevain crossing, where US Highway 281 and Manitoba Highway 10 meet, is one of 3 24-hour border crossings in North Dakota. To leave the garden, you need to cross the border checkpoint, and to do so, you need the normal documentation to cross. That means a passport.
I didn't bother bringing one because I didn't plan on going into Canada, and it's just another thing to have on me that I don't want to lose unless I absolutely need it.
I only have a driver's license and the Peace Garden brochure as my documentation. As I look forward, I see a hatchback getting its trunk searched, and I wonder if there's anything I have to hide in my motorcycle. And then it hits me. Let's go back. Let's go way back. Let's go back a few more states. All right, almost there. Really close. Almost. Okay, right around here. Here is where I went. Is it possible that I could have purchased something in this establishment that I probably shouldn't cross over international lines? No turning back now. All these scenarios started going through my head, like what is literally the worst that could happen. First, I would be jailed. I would lose my job and my apartment, I'd be letting my roommate down, and eventually falling back in life. My savings would be set back by thousands, which equates to years of work that took up my early 20s. Upon my arrival, I'm asked for a passport. I reluctantly offer up my license as my only form of identification. I didn't know what I could film, or even if I could, and all I have is my extremely stressed expression as I await the Border Patrol officer who was going to question me. Then I was drilled with questions. Where are you coming from? Williston. What are you doing there? Visiting a friend. How do you know them? We went to high school together. Where are you headed? Minnesota, back home to my address on my license. Where do you live? I gave my address. What is your purpose in Canada? I literally drove right to the garden and that's it. I couldn't have entered Canada as I do not have the documentation to do so. There was a few more questions, but the final inquiry was, are you a U.S. citizen? Yes, sir. All right, and he reluctantly waved me forward.
Well, that was quite the fiasco. I had to go through border control again to get back in the States. No passport on me. I had to tell them that I just went to the Peace Garden. He said, do you have anything to declare? And he looked at my bags like I had something. I said, I didn't enter Canada. So, which I didn't. Well, I did, but I didn't go into Canada. Seems kind of strange. I'm sure he's ran into it before. But he did do some probing questions. Where were you? What brings you to North Dakota? Where were you in North Dakota? Where did you stay? Where are you going? Are you heading home? Do you have registration for the vehicle on you? I didn't have any registration. That's all the way back in the Twin Cities. Like, yeah. So, bureaucratic little hang up there. But I was there for a little while.
Since the legalization of pot in Canada, and due to the nature of the U.S. Border Patrol under the Trump administration, I'm sure I would have had a much higher probability of getting searched now than back during the Obama admin years. Even now, there are many states that border Canada that have recreational marijuana legalized. At the time this video was made in late 2019, marijuana is still banned in the United States at the federal level. In the states of Alaska, Washington, Michigan, Vermont, and Maine, you can smoke on either side of the border, but it wouldn't be wise to cross. I also learned something interesting about Canada's internal geopolitics when I looked up the vote on national marijuana legalization. Here is a map of the MPs that voted for legalization. Green is in favor, red is voting against, gray abstained, and black is where a seat was vacant. Here is the 2019 Canadian election, where you can see a lot of Canada's Conservative Party made its biggest gains. Southern Ontario and a lot of the Great Plains regions show Conservative strength, and they voted against the legalization, which is what their party stood for on the issue. North Dakota almost legalized marijuana itself, which is interesting because the Republican Party has dominated conservative politics in this state for almost its entire history. Even though the state legislature and executive branch have been held by a more conservative party, there was a referendum on the ballot called Measure 3 in 2018. Out of the 760,000 people in North Dakota, 42% of the state voted on the measure. It lost 40% in favor to 60% against. There is a movement in the US, however. In 2018, the same year as North Dakota's attempt, other states that were won by Trump back in 2016 have passed legalization initiatives of different tiers. In Michigan, Proposal 1 passed total marijuana legalization, and Oklahoma passed a medical marijuana legalization initiative. Maybe another time, but for now, marijuana will remain illegal on this side of the border in North Dakota. Either way, be careful and keep a good idea of what you have in your inventory when you decide to cross the medicine line.